one thing that concerns me is that when Congress fails to be sufficiently clear, we leave to judges the task of figuring it out. And of course, we want judges applying the law, not creating it. We don't want to put judges in the role of being policymakers. So I would like for you to elaborate a little bit more on your conclusion that our existing statutory framework is sufficient to take on this new challenge.
Thank you, Congresswoman. It's an excellent question. I think if you just look at history here, fair use has existed in the copyright law for about almost 200 years. And over that time, it's dealt with lots of massive shifts in technology. 1984, the Supreme Court applied fair use to the then new technology of VCRs and said, applying, again, a 180-year-old law that did not have any understanding of that kind of recording technology, and made a really fact-bound, cautious, careful decision about whether home recording was fair use or not. Fast forward through the era, recently the Supreme Court handled a case involving software APIs. Again, something no one could have ever dreamed of as being a copyright issue 180 years ago. Yet the court, again, looking at the very specific facts of that case, determined that the reuse of software APIs was fair use. And there have been other cases going the other way, looking at new technologies like Napster and saying, that is not fair use, that's an exploitive use of the technology. And so my perspective comes from looking at that long history and how copyright law has been able to manage shifts, even major shifts in technology.
And Professor Burch, what's your take on that same question and the conundrum of not over-regulating, but at the same time, not leaving it to courts to try to create policy?
I think that it's worth considering all these issues and deciding whether or not copyright needs to be extended. I think that there's many things that my fellow panelists are talking about that are 100% valid and need to be incorporated into the ethical guidelines that AI system developers create, including right of publicity and copyrighted characters and things like that. And those are not currently covered sufficiently by copyright law. They may be covered by other laws sufficiently, but I think that's where the target should be. Like, what is the output of these systems and what is correct use and incorrect use of the output of these systems?